Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. If you have any been confusion about difference between front end, back end, full stack, MERN stack, and the mean stack, so which one you should be actually learn. So this video will going to check all the things. I'm covering every developer role. So there is the real job, responsibilities, and what was the roadmap to bring break in each one. So let's start. So what we cover on in this video, so the video agenda is just we have to start the basics, what the developer even they are given the role by role front end, back end, and the full stack. Then the breakdown two of the most popular tech stack like MERN stack and the mean stack. So finished with the real career path and the tips to actually get started. Let's begin with the foundation. So now we will talk about what does developer mean. As a developer, the simplest level, build the software from the web like a phone system running behind the scene. The key thing people miss, the job title, doesn't depend on the how the skill you are, depend on which part of the product you build. Uh, like a front-end developer build with a user C, but the back-end developer will build all the power to behind the scene. So the full stack developer do both. As a full stack developer you have to doing the front end and back end part with the completely, but you could be specialized like a mean and MERN stack. So toolkit built to the top of these role. So let's go deeper into each one. So let's start. Now we will talk about the front end role. So the front end role is the this the person who build the everything. You seen the click on the browser or app. There was day-to-day responsibility to include the turning design files and tools like a Figma into actual work like a web pages to building a layout. So work on the screen size and handling the forms, user interaction and connecting the interface to the backend. So that we call the front end. So API making sure everything load fast and acceptable to do this job. You need to know the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and the frameworks like React and Angular and Git for the version control and solid understanding for the responsive design. So that was the role as a front end. Move on to the front end roadmap. So the front end roadmap is actually learn this starting with the basics like HTML5 and CSS3 and the flexbox and the grid, then move into the logic with the JavaScript, DOM manipulation, calling API. Next, pick up your tools like Git and GitHub to build tool like to white. And after these learn a framework, you have to move on the React. So most in the demand right now. So finally level up with TypeScript testing, and most importantly, building a portfolio to actually deploy your project. So that was the complete front end roadmap. So you have to follow it. Now we will talk about the backend developer. So backend developer, it's a front end. Then the users see the backend is everything running on the behind the scene. So the backend developer design and build the logic and how the APIs front end call and manage the database, handling the authentication and security, write the core business logic and make sure the whole system can be a scale. To this you need a language like a Node.js and Express.js and the Python and Java. In the backend you have to know, so the framework like Express, Django, database skills, MongoDB, SQL and the PostgreSQL, and understanding the authentication method like JW2. So that was the backend developer role. So that's all about. Now we will talk about the backend developer roadmap. So let's start the roadmap. So when we started the backend roadmap, so start with your languages. I recommended JavaScript through the Node.js. So because it's pair perfectly with the front end, then learn to the server framework like Express and the REST API to get the comfortable with database like SQL and the MongoDB and post SQL. So after that, you learn the security, authentication, and authorization. So the input validation. Finally, learn to deploy, and then we have also using some hosting to the monitoring your app in the production. So that was the backend roadmap you have to follow. Now next we will talk about the full stack role. So the full stack role is what? It is very simple developer with own both side of product like a front end side and the build the UI and consume the API, and on the backend side they will build those same API, manage the database and handle the security And the full stack does not mean you have to expert at the everything. It means you are comfortable with working across entire flow of application. So that was the full stack developer role. Now we will talk about the full stack roadmap. So let's start. So the roadmap of the full stack is just combining the two paths. We will covering the front end basic and the like basic we have to covering like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React. Then learn the backend. It's Node.js, Express, MongoDB. Once you have you both the practice connecting them and making API call from the front end to handling the authentication to the end. Then pick the specific stack like a mean and the MERN. So build 2 and 3 complete project, finally deploy everything and put in your portfolio. So that was the complete full stack roadmap. So you will to follow this and learn these things. So that's it. Now next we will talk about MERN stack. It's a MERN stack. It's what? It's all about the popular of full stack combination out there. So now we understand the thing like MERN. M for is MongoDB and MongoDB is what? It's database. E for Express and R for it's your backend framework. It's React, your front end library, and N for Node.js, so the JavaScript runtime powering your server. So the reason MERN is popular is simple in one language is JavaScript. From the front end all the way to be database, this means the less connected switching, the huge job market. So one of the biggest developer community in the world. So that you have to learn the MERN stack and demanding in the market. Now next we will discuss about mean. What is mean? The mean is just a simple MongoDB Express node. The difference is that A is the Angular and the instant of React. So the Angular is a full front-end framework built by the Google with a lot of built-in the structure that are React. So the mean trend to shine in the larger enterprises style application where that the extra structure actually help keep in big term organization. So we have a MongoDB Express Angular and the Node.js that we have a called mean structure. We'll talk about the difference between MERN and MEAN. So the difference with a quick and genuinely easy to start with extremely flexible. So the great for the startups and the fast MVP. And the MEAN was the Angular, which was a steeper learning and curve, but with giving you more built-in structure, which is tend to prefer for the large enterprise system. Job-wise, is the MERN is a currently highly overall demanded, but MEAN is also strong and especially inside the bigger companies. So we have to go for the mean and MERN also. So that's all about the difference of mean and MERN. Let's talk about the web development. So the web development is just something like a lots of the beginners will confuse about front end, back end, full stack, MERN stack, mean. These all are the technical terms of web development. So the web development is just all about the combination of these things. So like a big big websites, big e-commerce and CMSS workflow like Shopify and WordPress. So these enterprises will web system. So to someone say I'm the web developer. So ask them which of these they actually specialize in the term of these things on the that we call about the web development role. Talk about the career path. So the career path, actually career path once you get and the typically start as an intern, yet training, learning fundamentals with lots of code review. Then you have to junior developer. It's a small feature under the guidance from their mid-level developer, mid-level developer that will be work for like a full features end to end and start monitoring others. So the senior developer will be leading the architect and decision. So the finally lead and architect where you all making system and technically decision across the team. So that was the usually take anywhere from there 3 8 years and 3 to 8 years depending how the consistency you have to building and learning these things. So as the As the career path, we have four players like intern, junior developer, mid-level developer, and the senior developer, and the lead. So these things I have to have already discuss about four things. So that was the career path as a developer. Now let's talk about how to start a career in web developer and developer role. So when we pick up the first things, we have just know about the actual things you have to know. Don't try to learn, just pick up one path and uh, first of all you have to pick the front end back end, and after that you have just to pick any framework. So go deep one thing, and then after that you will build a real project, not just tutorials and other things. Make a different projects, make a different ideas and logical things you have to be built in your project, so it's become like a good understanding of the project and the things. So the tutorial teach you syntax, but project teach you how to actually solve the problem. And the third thing is to push your code in your GitHub and day to day to just uh, push your code and uh, learn the git commands and git things you have, how you will push your code in your GitHub. So after that the people will read your code and understand what are you are build and project you have to be done. So especially open source project basically use the tech pattern. So the never see in the tutorial any things you have to be not when you have to be do any project. So many of the things you have to do, first of all you have to be think about the project name and what you have to be build and what the things you have to be done. And the fifth thing you have to do, just apply for the job you feel ready. Because you have to know the each things, the what was the foundation of the these things like a front end back end and full stack, MERN stack, mean stack, what the things we have to be learn, and what was the job title and the job description and the things. And the web development is what is web development. So the developer will just move to the developer, learn the finally 25% of the job. These things we have to be know, and then we have to be apply the job. And the good thing to be just build the different project. So that was the career path of the developer. So that's all about the video. It's now complete roadmap. It's front end, back end, full stack, and MERN stack, and the mean. All I explain and pick apart. Start a building today. Don't overthink which is one is best. The best one is one you actually stick and the learn. And let me know in the comment section which one is your learning, and start the journey. So if this video is helpful you, so just subscribe my channel, and I will get to coming where we go the even deeper into the project ideas for each stack. So on the next video, thank you.